In the ancient kingdom of Sulmir, nestled between sun-kissed mountains and whispering forests, lived a girl named Elara. Her home was a grand house, but it held no warmth for her. After her beloved father, a renowned astronomer, vanished on a distant voyage, Elara became a shadow in her own life. Her stepmother and two stepsisters, whose hearts were as cold as the stone floors she scrubbed, saw her only as a pair of hands for their endless chores. They buried her in work from dusk till dawn, hoping to extinguish the light in her eyes. But they failed. Every morning, before the world awoke, Elara would steal a few precious moments for herself. She would climb to the highest window of the house, a small, forgotten attic space, and watch the sun rise. It was her secret ritual, her daily act of quiet rebellion. The sky would blush with soft pinks, then burst into vibrant oranges and golds, painting the world anew. For Elara, the dawn wasn't just the start of a new day of toil. It was a promise that even after the darkest night, light would always return. She began to collect scraps of discarded cloth, a piece of linen here, a snippet of silk there. With a needle and thread she'd found, she started to stitch. But she wasn't just sewing. She was capturing the sunrise. Each thread was a sunbeam, each patch of fabric a piece of the morning sky. She stitched the pale lavender of pre-dawn, the fiery crimson of the first light, and the brilliant gold of the fully risen sun. These patchwork creations, hidden away beneath a loose floorboard, were her diary, her art, her hope. She didn't dream of a prince or a grand escape. Her deepest, most fervent wish was simply to be seen, to be acknowledged for who she was, not for the tasks she performed. One day, a royal proclamation swept through Solmir, causing a stir in every household. The king was hosting the grand festival of choosing, a magnificent celebration where the prince, a young man known for his wisdom and kind heart, would seek a partner to rule by his side. It wasn't about finding the most beautiful or the wealthiest bride, the decree said, but a partner with a true and courageous spirit. Elara's home erupted into a frenzy of silks, jewels, and frantic preparations. Her stepsisters, preening and plotting, demanded Elara's help at every turn. They needed gowns mended, shoes polished, hair styled. Elara worked tirelessly, a silent cog in their glamorous machine. A tiny spark of hope flickered within her. Perhaps she, too, could attend. Perhaps for just one night she could stand in the light. But when she shyly voiced her wish, it was met with cruel laughter. "You, in your rags and soot," her stepmother sneered. On the night of the festival, they locked her in the cold, dark cellar, leaving her with a final list of chores to complete before their return. Alone in the darkness, Elara's spirit finally faltered. Tears welled in her eyes as she heard the festive music drift faintly from the distant castle. She sank to the floor, her heart heavy with despair. But then, a soft, warm light began to glow in the corner of the cellar. It grew brighter and brighter, coalescing into a shimmering, ethereal figure. It was a woman, woven from moonlight and stardust, with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. "Do not weep, child of the morning," the spirit whispered, her voice like the gentle rustle of leaves. "I am the keeper of beginnings, and I have watched you greet every dawn with hope in your heart. You have honored the light, and now the light will honor you." The spirit waved a hand, and the floorboards above the cellar creaked open. Elara's hidden patches of stitched sunrise floated down, glowing with an inner luminescence. With another gesture, the scraps of cloth swirled and danced around Elara, weaving themselves together. The pale lavenders formed the bodice. The soft pinks and oranges cascaded into a flowing skirt, and the brilliant golds spun into delicate embroidery that shimmered like captured sunbeams. When the light subsided, Elara was wearing a gown made of the dawn itself. It felt warm against her skin, pulsing with a gentle energy. "This magic is born of your own hope," the keeper explained. "It is the light you've gathered each morning. But it is tied to the cycle of the day. When the final bell of the festival tolls, marking the approach of midnight, its power will fade, and the gown will return to what it was." With a final, encouraging smile, the spirit vanished, leaving Elara standing in a dress woven from her dreams. Taking a deep breath, Elara found the cellar door unlocked. She slipped out of the house and ran toward the castle, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilarating freedom. When she arrived at the festival, the sheer opulence of the grand ballroom took her breath away. Hundreds of guests, in their finest attire, glittered under the chandeliers, but a hush fell over the crowd as Elara stepped through the doors. It wasn't just the gown that drew their eyes, though it seemed to radiate a light of its own. It was the quiet confidence with which she carried herself. She didn't seek attention or try to impress, she simply was. While others boasted of their lineage or wealth, Elara spoke to the servants with kindness. She listened to an elderly courtier's long stories with genuine interest. She didn't play a part. She was just herself. The Prince Kale had been watching the proceedings with a growing sense of weariness. He was surrounded by performative smiles and calculated compliments. Then he saw her. She wasn't the most lavishly dressed, nor the loudest, but there was an authenticity about her that was as clear as a mountain spring. He approached her, intrigued. They spoke not of power or politics, but of the stars, of the simple joy of a new day, of the courage it takes to be kind in a world that isn't always kind back. He saw in her eyes the same strength and integrity he hoped to bring to his reign. He felt he had known her forever. Suddenly, the deep, resonant chime of the final bell echoed through the ballroom. Panic seized Elara. She remembered the keeper's warning. Not wanting her secret to be revealed, she gave the prince an apologetic look, whispered, "I must go," and fled. She ran down the grand staircase, her dawn-woven dress already beginning to lose its luster. In her haste, a single, golden thread from the hem caught on a stone gargoyle and tore loose, falling unnoticed to the steps. By the time she reached her home, she was once again in her simple, worn clothes, the magical gown reduced to a pile of ordinary scraps. The next day, the prince was determined to find the mysterious woman who had captured his heart. But he didn't have a glass slipper. He had something far more telling. A single, shimmering thread of gold. He declared that he would search the entire kingdom, not for the owner of a shoe, but for the girl whose spirit matched the light of that thread. His search led him through the mansions of the wealthy and the cottages of the poor. Many tried to claim the thread was theirs, weaving elaborate lies, but the prince was looking for a light in their eyes, a truth in their words. Finally, his search brought him to Elara's house. Her stepsisters, adorned in their finest, pushed and shoved, each trying to convince the prince she was the one he sought. He listened patiently but saw only vanity and greed. Disappointed, he was about to leave when he noticed a figure in the shadows, quietly sweeping the hearth. He felt a familiar sense of gentle courage emanating from her. "And who are you?" he asked, his voice soft. Elara, startled, looked up. Her eyes met his, and in that moment, he knew. He walked toward her, holding out the single golden thread. As his fingers brushed hers, a faint light began to glow from her hands, the same warm, golden light of the dawn. The thread in his palm pulsed in response, shining brilliantly. Her step-family gasped in disbelief. Elara stood, no longer a shadow but illuminated by her own inner light. The prince smiled, a look of profound recognition on his face. He hadn't come to save her from her life of servitude. He had come to find the person who was already whole, already shining. Elara wasn't chosen because a prince rescued her from the ashes. She was chosen because, even in the darkest moments, she had never forgotten how to find the light within herself. She had always carried the dawn, stitched into the very fabric of her soul. And now, she would share that light with the entire kingdom, not as a princess who was found, but as a queen who had always known her own worth. Thanks so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this modern fairy tale, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that find the magic in the everyday. See you next time.